Hey there, and welcome to our first advisory consultation. In today's explainer, I really want you to imagine we're just sitting across from each other in my office. We're going to diagnose a very specific and honestly, a very frustrating problem. Why your paycheck seems to completely evaporate despite your solid growing income. We're going to map out exactly where the leaks are. All right, let's dive right into this. So, where does your paycheck actually go? Young professionals sit across from me all the time, looking incredibly frustrated, asking why their bank accounts simply aren't growing. They make good money, but at the end of the month, poof, nothing left. And the answer usually lies in sneaky, culturally accepted spending patterns that quietly destroy your long-term personal savings. It's not the private jets or the luxury yachts that make you broke, right? It's the everyday choices that feel completely normal. Here is our financial action plan for today's session. First, the diagnosis. Second, the buy now, pay later trap. Third, subscription psychology. Fourth, your audit checklist. And fifth, building your moat. Okay, phase one, the diagnosis. We're looking at the silent wealth killers. We really need to acknowledge a fundamental truth about human behavior here. As your earnings grow, your baseline expenses subtly expand right alongside them to consume that new wealth. This invisible leak is known as lifestyle creep or silent inflation, and it's incredibly common among young adults in their mid-20s to early 30s. Why? Well, because rapid career advancements trigger this deep desire to project social status. You want to show you've made it, and that leads to unchecked discretionary spending just to fit in. Let's actually quantify that for a second. To put the real cost of lifestyle creep into perspective, indulging in just two $50 restaurant meals a week drains $5,200 from your wealth annually. That's money that could have been invested, compounding over decades. It's not just the $50 you lose today, it's the thousands of dollars in future wealth you're giving up for a fleeting convenience. Moving on to phase two, the buy now, pay later trap. Let's stress test your credit. We're going to stress test what I consider the absolute most dangerous modern temptation for young professionals right now, buy now, pay later applications. The hidden traps here are severe. Unlike traditional bank cards, these split payment apps offer instant gratification with absolutely no hard credit checks. They're highly gamified, they tie directly to your bank account via automated withdrawals, and because they sidestep the strict regulatory oversight of traditional credit cards, they effortlessly facilitate a dangerous cycle of overborrowing. Financial regulators are deeply concerned about this lack of oversight, and the projections show exactly why. Total buy now, pay later spending is expected to hit an astounding $1 trillion globally by 2025. That is a massive amount of hidden, unregulated debt floating around, predominantly held by younger consumers who struggle with easy access to instant credit. So what happens when you adopt these apps? Academic analysis of over 10 million consumers reveals a pretty disturbing trend. Shortly after adopting these services, users experience rapid financial decline. Bank overdraft charges literally spike by 4%, and credit card late fees rise by 2.3%. Why? Because users are struggling to juggle multiple automated payments. These split payments directly divert funds away from paying down your existing, much more expensive debt. Which brings us to the ultimate question. How much is a credit card balance really costing you? When instant credit apps or regular cards lead to impulsive shopping, you enter a cycle of debt where your purchases cost significantly more than the price tag. You're no longer paying for a product, you're just paying for the privilege of carrying a balance. Let's look at the terrifying math on this. If you carry a $10,000 balance at an 18% interest rate and you only make the minimum payments, it's going to take you 25 years to pay off. And it will cost you over $28,000. That means $18,000 of your future wealth just evaporated into pure interest. It bought you absolutely nothing. The crucial point here is summarized perfectly by Warren Buffett. The first rule of compounding is never interrupted unnecessarily. Every single time you finance your daily life, every time you use a split payment app for a sweater you really don't need, you are needlessly interrupting the powerful magic of long-term compounding. You're treating your future financial freedom for a tiny hit of short-term gratification. All right, next up is phase three, the psychology of subscriptions. Let's talk about the invisible drain. We need to look at how the subscription business model deliberately leverages behavioral economics to keep you paying indefinitely. Companies rely heavily on a cognitive bias called hyperbolic discounting. Basically, they know you'll gladly take the immediate reward of a free first-month trial without properly considering the long-term financial commitment. Your brain completely discounts the pain of paying $12 a month next year because getting to stream that movie for free today is just too tempting. And once you're in, they make it incredibly hard to leave. Companies exploit default bias. Auto renewals require zero effort from you, while canceling requires action. They trigger loss aversion, making you fear losing access to a service you barely even use. Plus, they lean on the sunk cost fallacy and introduce intentional friction, like hiding cancellation buttons or forcing you to make those super awkward mandatory phone calls.
It's a system literally designed to paralyze your decision-making.
So, how do we fight back? Welcome to Phase 4, your subscription audit checklist. Let's plug those leaks. To stop this invisible drain, I'm prescribing a strict, step-by-step subscription audit to help you immediately reclaim your lost cash. Follow these exact steps for me this week. First, gather 3 full months of statements. 90 days is absolutely critical to catch those sneaky quarterly charges. Second, dig right into your Apple or Google App Store settings. Third, check PayPal and third-party processors where charges love to hide. And finally, consolidate every single digital recurring charge to one dedicated card. This makes tracking your total monthly digital overhead incredibly simple. And here is the ultimate preventative tip for you. The exact moment you sign up for a free trial, go into your settings and hit cancel immediately. In almost all cases, you still get to enjoy the full trial period, but you have successfully neutralized the auto-renewal trap. You take the power right out of their hands and put it back in yours.
Now that we've plugged the leaks, our final step is Phase 5, building your financial moat. It's time to create some room for error.
We need to permanently replace your reliance on instant credit and those dangerous split payment apps. To create a budget that actually avoids credit, I want you to implement this simple weekly audit process. Track every single dollar you spend for just 1 week. Categorize it. Give every dollar a specific job. And most importantly, enforce a mandatory 24-hour pause on any non-essential purchase over $50. This simple delay allows your emotional impulse to fade, which will save you from that vicious cycle of debt. To guarantee you actually build your cash moat, you have to kind of trick yourself. You need to hide your own money from yourself. Set up automatic transfers to a savings account the absolute second your paycheck hits. Seriously, if the money isn't sitting right there in your checking account, you can't impulsively spend it on a buy now, pay later app. I absolutely love this quote from Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money. Worship room for error. Savings that aren't earmarked for anything in particular is a hedge against life's inevitable ability to surprise the hell out of you. You don't actually need a specific reason to save. You don't need to be saving for a car or a house right now. This emergency cash simply provides the essential room for error you need to survive unexpected expenses without derailing your compounding. It is your ultimate hedge against life's surprises. As we wrap up our consultation today, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought. Net worth is entirely invisible. The person driving the 10-year-old car might be a millionaire, and the person with a brand new financed luxury SUV might be drowning in credit card debt. You have to choose. Do you want the outward appearance of wealth today or the freedom and compounding power of true wealth tomorrow? The choice is entirely up to you. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you in our next session.